Beloved Father, Mother God, in this moment we are your holy children gathered two or more with one clear intention, to be as you've created us to be. We know that this is already the truth. We are as you've created us to be. Then why can't we always see it and feel it? In this moment, we own our responsibility. The moments we hold judgments, thoughts, fears, illusions, resentments, old programming, these are of our making, not yours. We know you have said God did not create fear in man, but a sound mind. We lost our mind and we're asking you, Divine Mother, Holy Spirit of God, to help us find it again. Help us find it through day-to-day moments of forgiveness, choosing grace instead of challenge and judgment. Fill our minds with your holy presence, Divine Mother. Birth in us a remembrance that we are your holy children in whom you are well pleased. And we commit to seeing this and accepting this in ourselves and each other. And so it is.
And please join me in reading our mission statement, which you can find on this white card. Together we say, the Global Center for Christ Consciousness is a spiritual center for students and masters on the spiritual path. We are dedicated to awakening the inner Christ and to creating a world of love, peace, joy, and abundance. And now for our sacred reading. From Paramahansa Yogananda. Intuition is the bridge between the soul and the ego's thoughts and sensations. If one can, for a sufficient length of time, remain unidentified with thoughts and sensations, and without being unconscious, one will know through the development of intuition the nature of the soul. When one is thus perfectly calm, neither thinking nor sentient, nor unconscious, yet knowing he exists, a keenness of joy, joyful being in which the thinking, thought, and thinker have become one, unity of the knower, knowing, and known. Therein is the soul's consciousness. And so it is.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being with us. If you're a guest, my name is Michael Mirdad, and I serve here as part of the spiritual leadership. And as is our custom, I'll ask for topics that you want me to cover today, and especially if they're really, deeply a concern of yours or something you haven't received clarity on from wherever you've looked for clarity. Can anyone share topics in a word or two? Hold on one sec.
Friendship.
Hold on. What did you say? What was that?
Friendship.
Okay, that's good. So let it be written, so let it be done. It's from the Ten Commandments movie. So, what a dramatic movie, Oh my God. So, one of the important things for us to understand, the idea of, we're always, there's a saying, be careful what you pray for, but also that we're always praying, right? All of our thoughts are prayers, meaning that all of our thoughts create. What are we doing prayer for? Because we want to make a change for something. God, would you, yes, usually it's asking God to change something, but prayer is an intention to change something for yourself, for the world, or whomever. But what people don't realize is that they're always praying. So when it's like, I hate that person, or what a jerk, or I'm better than them, or our group is better than theirs, and those are prayers. The problem is they're prayers of fear and conflict. And prayers will manifest in some form, especially if empowered enough, emotionally, mentally, they start to become what's called thought forms. And thought forms become a blueprint or matrix to a manifestation. In that sense, even when we sit around and pray for something to change in the world, oh, please fix my nephew who's sick. Please stop that war. Please end famine. None of that goes to God. None of it gets translated into heaven. Fear can't enter heaven. That's why evil was cast out of heaven. It's not like God said, listen, this is ending. It's not you, it's me. It's not, you asked about relationships and friendship. It wasn't like God said, be thine presence gone, It's all vibrational compatibility. As soon as the children of God called them Lucifer, Satan, you or me, as soon as any of the children of God chose to forget their divinity, their innocence, their Christ self, you're no longer in heaven. You're creating an alternate reality. So we heard that we were cast out. Someone was cast out of heaven. But it isn't cast out by God. Well, actually, it was Archangel Michael cast it. Well, even then, it's not Archangel Michael saying, we decided you're bad people and you're leaving. All it means is Archangel Michael said, and so it is. When somebody started thinking fear-based thoughts, Archangel Michael said, okay, sword, divide, cut, cut this way and that way. You're thinking what kinds of thoughts? Fear, separation, okay. We have just the universe and planet for you. And we went there, just a very natural attraction. It's not personal, as they say in the mafia, it's just business. So, yeah. Anyway. So what, how beautiful and how interesting and how scary that prayers are answered. And then we sit and go, uh-oh. Because do not use the Lord's name in vain. Means wasting prayerful energy. Because one of the talents of God is to know what it is, and it can never not know. But it can create children and give them the alternative of knowing or choosing to not know, because it has to give them free will or they're automatons. So instead, we have to choose to remember. We have to choose to be the Christ that we are. So we're exercising free will, which is not very free at all. It's all completely enchained. But we're exercising a false sense of free will to imagine what life would be like without love and without God. Why? Because we wondered what it would be like. And in that moment, the Big Bang took place. But when that happened, we call it the fall in Scripture, the fall of the children of God. Well, even in the very moment that we thought we could fall, which results in judgment, judgments then solidify the fall. See, you can make a mistake and forgive yourself, and it's done. You can also make a mistake and judge yourself, and now you're creating a whole reality around it. And so my fearful prayers, as well-intended as they seem, God, please fix that situation in the world, whether it's war, famine, or whatever. Please fix that. God, please help those people on that tsunami island, or whatever you come up with. You're actually reinforcing that there is a problem. Well, then how do you pray? Well, it's up to you. You can start there. God, please fix them. But what you're really saying is, God, here's how I'm identifying the problem, and here's how I'm telling you should fix it. Stop the war, or stop this or that. Stop that famine, or whatever it happens to be, epidemic or whatever. You're saying it's a problem, which then empowers it, and then you're telling God how to fix it, which doesn't actually fix it. So when we do this, we're actually only inflaming the situation and not bringing a result. Instead, we should be asking, how to anchor the presence of God in ourselves and then see the situation as God sees it. God cannot see. This is like Jesus calming the storm, right? Understand this. The apostles had a storm going on. Why? Oh, it was God testing them. That's what like a televangelist might say. Oh, the Lord was testing the apostles and blah, 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 right? With their hairdo, you know. It never moves either. But anyway, that's not what happened. If you interview Jesus, you know, reporter on the spot, Jesus, we heard that there was a storm out there on the lake. Yes, and Jesus would tell you, here's how it happened. The apostles are frightened because I'm in their life and I'm changing their lives. And it scares them. So they're feeling conflicted. When they went out on the sea, the inner conflict manifested as tumultuous waves. You understand what I'm saying there? It's a psychology going on. Their minds, their fears are manifesting and they're like, oh my God, we're going to, you know, they wake him up. Do you think he woke up and went, oh my God, why didn't you guys wake me? You know, every man for himself, you know, swimming to shore. You know, just imagine how chill this person is. Oh, cool, look, waves. Yeah, but make them go away. Jesus doesn't say, oh God, please fix these waves, because everybody's scared. What Jesus has to do in his mind is say, this is something that comes from inner conflict that is within our minds, and I don't accept it. What I accept is peace of God. Peace of God now. And the waves, shh, you know, the waves all look at each other. I'm not doing it anymore. This is Jesus Christ. I don't know why, but I don't want to cause any waves. So, boom, stop. Be still and know the I am presence of God. That's what he's doing. He's not fixing the waves, and he's also not making their fear go away. He even now and again says, ye of little faith. Why is he saying that? Just to, upset them. Okay, you're right, I have little faith. Did he do that just to upset them? No. He's saying, this thing you're asking me to do, you can do. But you've got to own what's happening. Faith meaning not just faith in God, faith in yourself. Faith in your understanding of spiritual laws. The outside can only reflect the inside. I shared this story years ago, but once on tour in Australia, I was at this beautiful retreat. And, the retreat was ending, and I spoke and ran this retreat for the day or whatever it was. And when it was over, I'm saying, we're all in this big circle. I mean, this giant circle. I don't know how many people, 100 and 200 or whatever. And people are sharing their last questions or comments. What did you get out of this retreat, et cetera? And then somebody said, Michael, if you don't mind, can we, and the spiritual community in Australia can be very tight and into the earth, and they're really, they're really tight-knit and connected. And they're saying, we have an issue going on, and we've had a drought for quite a long time, record number of days, and we don't have any water. Can you help us? Can you pray for rain? Sure. Okay, let's do that. But I didn't go, God, please, can't you see there's no rain? You don't pray as a victim. What I did in a nutshell was, in this moment, two or more are gathered, acknowledging and owning that the drought that we're experiencing is an inner drought. We're not feeling quenched in our connection to you, God. And there's no rain in sight for this, the community. It's long drought and there's no rain anywhere on the radar for months or whatever. And I'm saying, this quench, it's God we want, not rain. There's no such thing. In reality, everything on the outside is a reflection of the inside. So we're calling on your presence. And I'm telling you, before we broke circle, it started raining. And again, people can, wow, and surprise, and Michael's amazing. I am, but still. You know why I'm amazing? Because I'm willing to tell the truth, which is we thirst for you, God. That's what's amazing. My putting things in the right perspective. I would be embarrassed if I would have said, please, please, and a drop of rain came. Michael, you're amazing. No, I would have felt ashamed that I manifested a drop of rain from the wrong state of consciousness. So I'm glad that this is where we're going. This is the truth of God. You know, God's not sending rain. This is a whole equilibrium. This is a whole ecosystem that we live in, seeking that equilibrium, seeking homeostasis and so on. We're looking for peace, but we're not yet finding it. Why? Something's off, and I guarantee you it's in here, not out there. It isn't nature's fault. It isn't Mother Earth's fault. Mother Earth is mad. You know, she's creating quakes, and energetically, it's happening energetically. It's not like the Earth Mother or the Divine Mother's like, oh, I have something in store for you people. All she can do is love us. So when we manifest turmoil, it's our individual and collective consciousness that has prayed for it. I don't mean consciously send turmoil, please. It's just in our lack of love, our lack of knowing who we are is enough to attract hurtful experiences. That's it. Owning that. And I've said this so many times. When I pray, I don't pray as a healer, counselor, etc. I don't say, okay, God, this person's come to me for healing and being so amazing and wonderful that I am. I'm actually telling you, fix them so that we can impress them. I use the word we. We are calling on you. I join with them, which some people have criticized me for. No, that's wrong, man. Aren't you aware of what conscious language is all about? You shouldn't be disempowering you by including yourself in those lower people's problems. And they think conscious language would be, you know, I am and you're not. And I'm saying instead, no, the healing comes from joining with others. 2 or more. So me and my client, I can be totally at peace and loving, and they can be completely psychopathic. We're still a we. I don't act it out, perhaps. But if I separate them and pray for them, they're a them. They're a separate person. Separate people are in pain, mentally, emotionally, and so on. No addiction has ever been entertained on this planet from people that were recognizing their oneness with all. It comes from feeling separate that makes us feel anxious, that makes us need to quench the anxiety and so on and so on. So some of the things you're asking about, peace within, that's where it's coming from. But you have to own that which isn't peaceful. Even if you're being responsible with prayer and saying, you know what, it's not about others, I need to do some personal work. Don't say, give me peace, per se. Why don't you offer out what isn't peaceful and then bring in peace? Well, again, that's negative languaging. That means I'm empowering that I have a problem. You do have a problem. Oh, that's negative. Call it anything you want. You have a problem. If you don't acknowledge there's a problem, how are you going to fix it? Well, that's negative languaging. Then go back to your positive enforced languaging that seems to only create a hell of a life. Peace comes from moving that which isn't peaceful. It's all this word responsibility. You can't just polish it up and say peace, inner peace. You got all this anger and rage inside, but inner peace. Anyway. We are all praying, but all our praying creates a channel. In other words, if on a 0 to 10 scale, I am purely a 10, love, peace, joy, oneness, Christ consciousness, then that's what I would channel. I can't be in Christ consciousness and channel a 1 if I'm a 10. But I also can't channel a 10 if I'm a 1. Making sense? So what A Course in Miracles calls teaching. You're always teaching. It doesn't mean educationally. What he means by teaching is you're always an example to others. An example of what? I don't know, 0 to 10. How you doing? Well, some days I'm a 2. There's days I'm an 8. Are you comfortable swinging 2 and 8, 2 and 8? No, it's not really where I want to be. Great. Then what do we do to raise the bar? What do we do? People that want to be a channel, and this happened a lot in the 1990s, channeling became so popular, but almost every one of the popular channel of the 90s lost their minds. They had nervous breakdowns. They went through the dark night of the soul and collapsed. They literally lost their minds in some cases. Some really horrible things happened to a lot of these channels. Why? Because they didn't become what they were channeling. You mustn't have dichotomy. Bring it together. Love, forgive, but also be what you're channeling. Or don't channel it. Because watch what you pray for. If I tell you I'm going to channel a 10, and then, I'm driving down the street and you see me waving at people with a lack of fingers, it's funny. I go to wave and all my fingers drop and except one. Then I'm not really living the 10. So what I can do is come up here and say, I had a 2 day today. Own it, heal it, and you rise. That subject matter rises like the others. If you hide it, it's a darkness, and it'll become contrasted to the light. One of you asked about Kundalini, for example. When the Kundalini is rising, how come some people say, oh, it's this blissful, amazing thing, my third eye open? Other people are like, I have I got the Kundalini rose. I've got burning sensations. I feel like my skin's been peeled off my body. My body's always burning. Don't put sheets on me. It's, and it's like you're there and there's people are trying to spritz cool water because nobody knows what to do. And doctors are calling it all kinds of weird things that they think it's going to, be, medicating you and so on and so on and so on. Why the difference? Because be careful what you pray for. And if you're praying for the rise in enlightenment, the rise in consciousness, or even literally the rising of the Kundalini, the Kundalini doesn't just rise. It burns away all that is unlike itself. This is Shakti. Shakti, the mother. This is the mother in the form of energy that goes, because all she ever does is say, and so it is. So when you say, Mother, Divine Shakti, whatever you're calling her, she's like, 10 up. And if you've got some weird stuff going on, she's like, first chakra, bing, doors open on the elevator. Any issues? And if you've got issues, you got to get out and work on them. Bing, go to the next floor. And she just takes you through each part of yourself, burning away that which is not like her, holy. And then, of course, we're victims again. And please make this go away. And, she's going, I don't know. Let me check my records. Seems to me you're the one who asked for this, make it go away now. Oh. Then, if she does make it go away, you're 3 lifetimes. You're like, how come Kundalini doesn't work for me? Just become a better person. And the Kundalini, which is a manifestation of the mother, will become more present in you. Don't talk about the techniques. Don't tell me about the things you do and call organic things or non-organic things to raise your Kundalini. I'm telling you, you're in trouble. Most people who attempt to raise prematurely, I'll call it, raise the Kundalini are in trouble because they're trying to control the mother that is beyond your control. Please trust her. Oh no, I don't need it. I got it. I got a person, a life coach, shaman, counselor, spiritual something or other that lives in some really cool Tibet, whatever. And they're going to, spritz something and I'll take and I'll roll my eyes backwards and do all this technique and it'll make my Kundalini rise. And don't even put your teachers in charge of that. Call on the mother. Even if you're using teachers and facilitators, call on the mother. If you have a teacher that says, oh no, we're beyond the mother, the divine mother, the Holy Spirit, no, that's old school. I have been doing this for weeks now, so I really know what I'm doing. Run, man, run. Just run. Why are we so rebellious? Why are we so, and it's only because of fear. We fear, we're not just rebellious, we fear God. So we try to be control freaks and we try to do things our own way, but it's all because we fear God. At the end of the day, and people, oh no, I don't fear God, then let go and let God. Prove it. Forgive people. Well, there's some people I don't think are worth forgiving, which means you're deciding. You're not trusting in God. When it comes to judgment, understand this. Any problem you've ever had anywhere in any lifetime never came from forgiveness. It came from judgment. Now, I'm not saying you should pick on yourself. I've been noticing my nails are breaking lately, and Michael's saying I have to figure out what judgments I've had, Oh, well, there was that one ex of mine that always sounded like nails scratching on chalkboard, and then nails. Now I know what caused it. That's a control freak again. There's nothing wrong with you figuring out what issues you have. There's nothing wrong with that. But don't make that your goal. Your goal is to not have them, to move beyond them. So if you figure out nails, the connection, that ex of mine sounded like screeching nails on a chalkboard. She irritated me, but I get it. And I'm looking at my part in that relationship, surrendering, etc., calling in the peace and grace of God and peace to my ex. This will probably heal on its own. Because when you get the message, the messenger disappears. When you get the message, the manifestation tends to disappear. But the ego is aware of that and knows that it needs to get you attached to that happening. I got it. Wait. Oh, I must have failed because my nails are still broken. It knows that. So when you say you trust God, that means you trust in things unseen. Even when you don't see the results, are you still feeling like, wow, I had an amazing epiphany today. I saw what was behind my fingernail issues and I cleared it. And somebody says, well, let me see your nails. No, they're still broken. That's a voice of evil trying to make you doubt in goodness. So if every symptom, every problem in the world and in personal lives, every problem, including aging and gravity and just energy, heaviness, depression, all of those things come from judgments. What's the solution? Anybody? Forgiveness, God, forgiveness. But putting it in another terminology, the best cure for judgment is and its symptoms is actually an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Stop judging. Try that. Acceptance. Accept what you see yourself doing and judging. Accepting, instead of defending it. Well, I'm not judgmental, but. This is always a great line. I'm typically not a judgmental person, but. Which means you typically are, but you don't see it or know it or own it. You got to sit and accept it. Wow, sometimes, I slip and I see it. Catch it. So when you can't see it ahead of time, your judgments, prevention, meaning don't judge in the first place, you're not going to get that down perfectly. So just set a course to not judge so easily, so quickly. But if you're going to judge, forgive. Who? The people you judged? And yourself for having judged. See, if I judge you, I'm actually, so there's God created you as a holy being. When I don't like something about you, something you said, something you did, or your disposition, your look, whatever it is, do you understand what I'm saying is, God may have created you perfectly, but let me tell you, somewhere you went off course. I've decided that what God created perfectly isn't so. Now, if you'd like to sit down and I'll make a list of things you should work on, this is what people do in relationships, friendships included, partnerships, family. Let them be. Just stop talking about others as often and as much if you can. Work on it. I don't need to pin my opinions on people. You don't need to think about who's the right and wrong group in a war. None of that's going to make sense anyway. Clearly, The United States was always on the right side of every war. How? Not one. Not one was anybody absolutely pure. Not one war. Oh, well, the Civil War because it was against slavery. No, it wasn't. That was one topic. Money, power is behind this stuff. If something's lucrative enough, people are going to turn a blind eye to what's right morally. It's next to impossible. Next to impossible. You wouldn't really be able to go to war if you were centered in God. But you also would feel an amazing automatic defense system in consciousness. That wouldn't be your reality. For example, even though you could say, well, Jesus was high consciousness and he got crucified. No, actually he didn't. He decided when he was in the mood to do it, and he did it. When he was in the mood. They tried to arrest him several times. Sick-minded Roman soldiers. These are brutal dudes. Brutal dudes. And if they come to arrest you and they don't, they're going to be beat to death by their colleagues. This is an intense group of people. So they sent Roman soldiers to arrest Jesus. A rabbi. That should be like, nobody's thinking like he might fight back. He's a rabbi, man of peace. This should be easy. The soldiers go to arrest him. And he basically says several times, not today. You know, Roman soldiers, okay. Sorry for the imposition. How do you get these guys apologizing? You know, he held such presence that even when he said, let's do it, the soldiers were being converted at the time because they saw something magnificent about this person. He didn't judge them. He didn't hate them. And some of them got angrier because some people get angry when you don't jump in to the pit with them. And they hate you and they gossip and they hate you and they gossip. And you don't jump in. They get worse and worse sometimes. Love the hell out of them. Just hold, hold, hold. I wouldn't suggest you trying to do this on yourself like the Kundalini. I would say, God, be with me. Show me how to do this. Show me how to hold center. I of myself am nothing. The I that thinks it'll raise its own Kundalini, the I that thinks it's going to do this, that, and the other. The channels in the world that went, they lost their minds, unfortunately. Many, I'm telling you, go research it. The ones that were big popular in the 90s are almost all gone. Why? Where'd they go? Nervous breakdowns and all kinds of things. I'm not judging them. I actually feel for them because I watched some of this happen. Some of them were friends speaking at conferences with me. And I watched it happening. And it's because they were talking other dimensional, but they were broken on this dimension. It would have been more important for them to say to the Divine Mother, what would you have me do? I remember one in particular said, Michael, I've never told anybody this, but if I'm supposed to go up there and channel a certain entity or a certain group or a certain dimension, if I sit down and it's not coming through, I have to pretend that it is. Well, I don't know the answer to that. Do you say, nope, not happening, no refunds, thanks. I don't know what's worse, that or saying, it's not happening, right? What do you do? Do you fake it? Or what do you do? Now, what I would have done is I would have said, if I'm feeling that something's not coming through, what I would do is talk about the experience of being a channel of it. So I'm still addressing the it that's not coming through, and also my personal experience with it, and also how it is, so that attendees are getting a practical exercise in this. Make sense? That's what I would have done. What I do, what I share is, I don't name it this dimension, this entity. It's just the mother. I allow the Holy Spirit to do whatever through me. But the channel here is not that different from over there. It's just different. If I saw a car accident, I wouldn't stand and start talking. I'd move. I'd have to move and start to move people around and help out. And if somebody's not blocking the traffic, I would say, hey, block the traffic, man. We're trying to get people out of the car and they're almost hitting other people. You know, it's boom, firm sometimes. And if somebody, you know, oh, he's speaking so, you know, intensely, I don't know what to do, man. He's not the Christy guy that I saw at service. Then leave. Then, you know, if you can't handle that, but you can't handle it, don't put it on me. Just say, I don't know how to reconcile that in my mind. This is what you're told when you're a husband and your wife's giving birth. The doctors will tell you, don't take it personally. When she starts saying, you idiot, get me some honey. I thought you meant me, honey. No, honey. You know, if you take that personally, you're going to have a divorce soon after. Just go with the flow. Feel it. Go with the flow. Now, if it's overboard, the channels that spoke love and higher dimensional, but they were really, oh man, I saw some really strange, wicked behaviors. Instead of thinking of them as fake, although some were, what I saw it as is, look at the conflict that intensifies in a person that's trying to channel this, but their humanness is this. I felt for them, you know, because you're talking this, putting this out there, but you're doing this. My prayer would be, and even offering help, is there anything I can do to help raise this bar? You know, like accept some of your foibles, accept some, and, you know, whatever it happens to be. You know, make it light, talk about it. You know, I'm channeling 20th dimension right now, but let me tell you, when I went through divorce, wow. But I learned and I learned and I learned. It's okay to have this. But what are you doing with it? That can still make a difference in people's lives. Pretend it's not there, it's not helpful to you or anyone else. It's going to be there. It shows up in its funky kinds of ways. So to me, it's not just channeling. You have to become what you channel. We're the Global Center for Christ Consciousness. Oh, that's a cool name. It's not a name. If you're going to label your center that, or if any of you out in the world are changing your name, and your name's being changed to Grace, and you're not very graceful, it's kind of weird. So people will measure you by what you claim to be. So by calling ourselves the Global Center, we already raised the bar in terms of this is what we're saying. So that's already going to intensify not only our own inner conflicts to become, but also it intensifies the number of little things people can see. Oh, you sneezed. If you're Christ, you wouldn't sneeze. You know, and it intensifies human judgments. You don't like it, then call yourselves, you know, the Bricklayers Association or something, you know, because you're all just, each of us is like a dense brick, and we're just, you know, welcome. We're going to call ourselves the Center of Rock Quarry Consciousness. Then nobody's expecting a whole lot. I mean, they're like, you know, you've exceeded the rock level. You made it to 2, where a rock is a 1, and wow, good for you. And then you'll feel all happy and proud and so on. Be careful what you ask for. Be careful what you label yourself to be. You call yourselves a healer. Some people in this town and other places, you call yourselves a healer. When somebody calls on you, you're never available. Well, I was busy. I was this, and my beloved that I met last week, you know, we just wanted some time walking in the forest, looking in each other's eyes. It's no problem. Don't call yourself a healer. Just say I'm a naturopath or a chiropractor and I have days off. Call it that then. Don't say healer, because that's a different word. A healer is a chiropractor or naturopath that thinks from a different level. I am here to serve. Counselors that are never available, it's dangerous. Be careful. And so what I always did, and I'm not saying it's right for you or that I'm perfect and holy 24/7, I'm not. But I own it and do my best to forgive myself. But my thing was, and still is, especially in the old days touring, people all over the world, you know, you go and you open somebody up and they're like, oh, and all this horrible stuff is seen, abuses and things and all shames and whatever. You open them up, you bring them to a place of peace, of course, in a session if you're doing a good job. But you've also left them now holding that vibe. And they're like, now what? Where do I go with this? So I always had this thing. You call me 24/7. My phone is never off. Never off. So people would call, and now in those days, my number would be out there more, but not touring. It's too many people in countries, but 24/7 people could call me. I didn't care because I'm a healer, and a healer should be here for people. That's how I felt about it. I'm a teacher. I'm here to teach. Not, well, I'm here to teach as long as it's within this 2 hours a day and I can make money on it. I needed to be there completely. So people are following up with issues and challenges and not even having to pay because I need to be there. That's how I feel about that. I'm not saying you should do that. I'm weird. I admit it. I'm a little strange. I'm a little, my nervous system can handle more than most people's. I feel okay about it. I don't I couldn't sleep for a week because somebody called in the middle of the night. I don't care. I'm boom, right here. And I keep coming back to center. There's moments where I feel, the physical stuff. I remember times going on tour, and I remember walking up on a stage to do the talk. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Michael Mirdad, and I'm going up at the stage, and my legs would wobble for a second because I was so exhausted. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. And I'd go, note to self, you might want to sleep this week sometime. But it was such a weird thing. Nobody would know but me. But the little leg wobble, and I'd be like, that's right. I haven't slept yet or whatever. See? So take care of those pieces, and I would take care of those in the best way I could. But there's no wrong about it. You're not supposed to do the level I did, and I'm not supposed to do the level you do. But what is your level? And are you willing to let your level expand a bit more? You don't have to come out and completely flip it the other extreme, but can you come out a little more? When you do sessions, I think it's great, but can you sometimes, 1 in every 20 clients, gift them the session and not charge them? Oh, no, I can't because, no. Try to give more. Try to pay somebody's grocery bill who's in line with you if you can afford it. Don't energetically or financially give to anybody anything you can't afford. I just always felt like I could afford it. That's how I felt. Whatever's needed. There would be those moments getting on a plane and going, oh God, this is going to be a 20-hour flight, Can't wait. And that's great, man. My assistant booked me a window seat. I'm just going to chill. You get the headphones, get all ready, and then you see somebody get on the plane, limping down the aisle, and I'm like, fine! Because I know me, and I'm like, you got to be, the enough flights, you get a first class seat, I'm like, oh, this is cool. Spread out, headphones for a long flight, and it would, lo and behold, it would happen. Somebody would, and I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding me. Talking to myself. That's my way of being silly and joking. Fine, It's not like I'm actually rude about it, but I do that little drama for myself. You got to be kidding me. Yeah, but you know that you can handle this more than they can. And it's not just their back is messed up or something and mine isn't. It's the statement that you love someone, that you see them. That's the thing. When someone gets on the plane or someone walks in the store and they're in pain, physically, emotionally, there are tears in their eyes or whatever's happening, I'm telling you, their soul is crying out for someone to see them. And people don't care because they have their own issues, because they're in their own egos. I have enough on my plate. I can't, and my issues are bigger than yours, and they're all in that stuff. But they're not realizing, if I take the time to help you, I am helped. If I bring healing and love, just the very idea of seeing someone, seeing them on a soul level, and it's not always because they're limping or they're always tearing, and sometimes you just feel it. And do you understand what happens when somebody's got all the masks up and they're looking all just fine and perfect, and somehow you see through to what's really happening, do you know what that does to their soul? Their soul is going, man, we've allowed our ego to put up all these masks and they saw us anyway. Why would they do that? Because they care. Wait, what? Your soul is going, they care? Shields down, Scotty. Become vulnerable. You know, it's amazing when you can let people know that you see them at such a deep level. It's, you know, to me, it's breathtaking. One of you asked about friendship. Friendship isn't supposed to be just the hanging out and doing similar things. But, you know, it's also the willingness to see each other at a deeper level. See, some people think relationships, friendships, etc., are when you accept each other's flaws. You've heard that, right? No, it's not. It's perhaps that a little. But what about, am I going to just accept your flaws, which means I decided to judge your flaws, but I'm so benevolent, I won't say much. I accept you for being a jerk. Real friends would be, despite the one behavior you put out there, I am absolutely determined to keep seeing your holiness. Furthermore, why would I want to even be your friend if I'm not willing to see your holiness? That's called a little agreement. That's a bargaining agreement. Listen, I would like to have a friendship with you. I'm willing to overlook your stuff if you're willing to overlook mine. Let's pretend it's not there and that we're just so accepting. Oh, we're just BFFs, you know, and we're just, you know, wow, isn't it funny? You're so weird, but I accept you. And there's this back and forth. What about, I refuse to believe that this thing you do is who you are? I refuse. See? When someone does something hurtful to me, I don't actually feel I need an apology. But I'll tell you this, I'm aware sometimes that they need to apologize for them. Nothing wrong with letting your friends go, oops. They need to sometimes. But I don't feel like I sit around going, well, hi, Michael, don't you hello me. I want an apology. But I do sometimes encourage one when I know that they need to do it, whether it's humility or whatever. And I'm asking you too, check in and watch for that, where you feel like you need apologies from your parents, your ex, and whomever. I understand they may have done hurtful things, but if that stays in your energy field, that's your vibration. Now, I would love to be an 8, but because of them, I'm a 2. You want to stay there? Well, no, that's why I don't think about them. You're always praying. Your thoughts, your feelings, your unhealed wounds are prayers. Can I stay messed up today? Yes, thank you, Lord. Because the Lord just says, and so it is. I want to stay bitter, and so it is. I wish I weren't so bitter, but yet you're thinking it. So retiring people from the roles they play, retiring, you know, everyone from these labels and the masks, whether it's the mask of you're my savior or the mask of you know you're my beloved forever, or the mask of you're the hurtful one and the one that hurt me and ruined my life. Got to retire people from all these kinds of things. I love when I've heard some of you take moments to speak up, you know, when somebody's you know, jibber-jabbering about the global center, oh, Christ consciousness, who do they think they are? Or whatever their trip happens to be. People make up all kinds of things about us. And it's good that you're not even aware of it, because that's how illusionary it is. But somebody out there is going to do blah, blah, blah. Some of you will say, oh, well, I just let them have their feelings. You're not actually just being a loving, passive person when you say that. What you're really saying is, I'm afraid of confrontation. I don't want to lose my friend, or whatever your little ego story is. And it is ego. What's nice is the times I've heard you say, any of you, you know, say to a person, actually, that's not so. That's not true. Where did you hear that? Well, I heard, did you know it? Were you? No. Be quiet. If someone comes to me and wants to make me hate you, I'm not dealing with this as much as what are they doing and why? So to me, it's like, get behind me, Satan. I don't care who it is. When one of my children wasn't accepting of somebody that was in my life as a partner, I didn't throw the partner out. I told my child, you're not permitted at my home. Be gone. Don't come back until you can find peace. And some people are like, oh, what kind of a dad are you? A good one. Because I'm not in a codependent relationship with them. I don't become conflicted. Oh my God, what do I do? And I have this partner and they're unaccepting. One of them's in their ego right now. That's the one I'm going to be firm with. You understand? I'm not going to throw out the one that's not in their ego. That doesn't make sense. That's enabling. It's weak. And it's going to create some really heavy lessons for us. So you're right to say no. No. Tell your friends, why are you doing that? What you're saying is lying. Lying is evil. Gossip is evil. Oh, well, why are you being so rude? No, wait. You're saying ABC. It's not so. It doesn't sound like the voice of God. You don't like this, you don't like that, and so on. Again, whether it's your personal life, like my example, or whether it's about this center or whomever, whatever, or your religion, your faith, your beliefs. Some of you got those people out there that are saying, oh my God, you're going to hell, but we're praying for you. Say, excellent. I like that. All the prayers I could get. Thank you. Now, of course, that's not what they meant. They want you to go, I'm so sorry. Convert me to anything you want me to be. Remove my brain and plug yours in, and I'll just be you. This is what people want. And you say, you know what? I believe in Christ consciousness. Oh, look out. If you Google A Course in Miracles, you're going to find at the bottom of the page where it tells you some other things that you should go and look at. One of them is it's a cult. It's a book. If it's a cult, who's the leader? Who's the leader of the cult? Who do I pray to? Who do I send flowers to? It's a book. It's just ink and paper. I mean, if anybody, I don't care how good that book is, if anybody actually places it on their altar and starts, they're off. They need help. But that's not the case. But it's a cult. Look up Edgar Cayce. It's a cult. This is what people attribute. They want to put that word in there to make it look bad so that you don't pursue it because it's good. 12-step program. Oh, that's a cult. Really? It doesn't fit any of the definitions. So it's just the lunacy of this world, living in fear, trying to make you not pursue goodness. Tell these people no once in a while. Don't hate them. Don't fight with them. Say no. Reflect it back. What are you doing? What are you doing right now? Well, I've heard that Course of Miracles, and I heard you're going to a course group. So what do? Do they brainwash you all? They're teaching about love and forgiveness, which I'm needing to exercise right now with you. You probably don't want to say that part, but so I'm pursuing a life of love. And here's a great thing I advise to all of you. Use the word healthy or healthiness. When your family says, what are you doing? What are you into? Healthiness. It's a great word. Because healthiness, mind, body, soul. I'm into healthiness. And they say, why aren't you coming to the family reunion? Only 10% of our family members are child molesters. You think that sounds gross. This is what they do. This is true, real stuff. People are having family reunions, and you're calling me for sessions going, what do I do? They're all mad at me for not going. And you know what? Just say, healthiness. And you can say to the whole family, hey, everyone, guess what? I started living, you don't have to, I'm now a Jesus, Christ Consciousness Global Center, and you don't have to do that. I just became committed to healthiness. And I'm checking in, and I'm saying, family secrets of abuse, healthiness. They don't seem to align. They're going to hit you with, who do you think you are, blah, 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 blah. Healthiness. It just doesn't feel healthy. See, it's harder for people to hate you when you talk about trying to improve your own status of healthiness. Use other names for it, they're going to go after you. They're still going to go after you for healthiness. They're going to say, who do you think you are, telling us that we need to have more healthiness? You're going to say, I never said the word you at all. I said me. I didn't tell you not to go to the family reunion. I said, I'm not going. And if I add anything beyond that sentence, it would just be this. And if anyone else is interested in stepping into this family going to a place of healthiness, I'd love to hear from you. If not, no mas. That's what I would do. I don't care who it is. This world is already in such conflict because we live in such duality. I want to do this, but family says I got to do that. I want to do this, but then social and government and stop. Others can do as they may, but as for me and mine, I will serve the living God, which is synonymous with love and peace and healthiness. So I'm going to do my best to walk the walk of love, peace, joy, oneness. So channeling isn't what I'm doing, I'm becoming. See, I almost never have done anything like a trance channeling, let's call it. People ask questions, whether it's in session or whether it's 3D on the street. Somebody says, hey, do you know where such and such a street is? I'm channeling. I am. I don't mean channeling meaning that street is 3.2 miles, information. I'm channeling the presence of the Mother, the Holy Spirit of God, which means someone's lost, they're asking for help, and instead of saying, I don't have time for you, I check in and I help however I'm guided to help. And sometimes it's, do you want to ride? Other times, whatever other form. And other times, in your mind, don't forget, leave them to God. You don't always jump in and get involved. It's when you're guided to. So that's how sensitive I am. I'm a very sensitive person. Some would even think I'm even hypersensitive at times. But I'm a very sensitive soul. I might seem strong or male. I don't see myself as that. I feel. I don't think. I don't stand feeling masculine. I even have it weird things when somebody says, sir, or when someone says, well, you're a man, can you help? I'm like, oh, that's right. Okay. You know what I mean? I don't, it's weird. Or when somebody says, like age kinds of things. Somebody said the other day to me something about age. And it was like, what? Like their whole, they look at a person and they said, what was it? Something about music. And they said something to the effect, oh my God, it's coming back to me. It's, they go, well, people from your generation are all dead. That's what they said. They go, the reason music's not really happening much anymore is because people from the era of the 60s and 70s, big music time, well, they're all dead. And I'm like, I got to check. Like, seriously? Like, you've written me off? Like, what a weird thing. But people do this. You're a man, you're a woman, and if ever you've stopped for a minute and it caught you off guard, it's because part of you doesn't identify with your humanness, which is healthy. It's good. You're getting away from. You're Jewish, you're Gentile, you're this, you're that, black and white, and I don't feel those things. I don't. I'm not saying I hope I do. I wish I didn't. I'm saying I have to catch up sometimes in conversations to understand what they just said. Let's have older people go over here. I'm still standing there. And, they must think I'm in like some form of denial, but I'm like, wait, what? Oh, like your what do they call it? A driver's license, Oh, I got to go stand over there. It doesn't compute. And that's okay. You're not dissociated. Your consciousness is shifting towards something else. And it should never go into dissociation where you don't know your name and things are extreme like that. I'm talking about it's kind of fun and funny to realize I don't identify with a group, a religion, any shtick of any kind. There's no thing. There's no stereotype. It just doesn't feel like that. If I'm a single dad, I have within me a woman that can help, a mother who can help parent children. I don't have it. What's needed right now? Channel it because that's the real you. It's beautiful to realize channeling the mother means you are all things to all people because she is. But remember the word becoming. Remember the word becoming. Don't just think channeling. Some of us think, I don't believe in channeling and I'm not worthy. Some of us start to talk channeling, but what we're doing is channeling something else, which is, wow, it's amazing. They're channeling this other. The great thing is to become. And the apostles themselves, and that includes Mother Mary and Mary Magdalene and other followers like Martha. These people, Lazarus included, these people didn't just listen to Jesus. He was awakening the Christ in them because he was the embodiment of the mother as well, and he was helping to birth the Christ in them. You see? But he still asked every one of them, except Mother Mary, I need you to go back to earth and still incarnate. Even though I'm helping to awaken the Christ in you, I need you to bring it to the world. And every one of them said yes. None of them said, oh, no, no, no. All of them knew the greater good is to bring that presence to this world. You see? There's no, you become awakened and then you run away going, oh my God, I'm so glad I'm out of that. Good luck, people. Anybody that truly reaches a state of awakening knows that we're not separate, therefore I can't leave you behind. You're me. Any part of you that I think, a person or group, that I think is unredeemable is a part of myself that's now unredeemable. It's perfect that. The law is perfect. Not one person can be judged as unworthy of forgiveness. And I'm speaking to you personally. Not one act that any of you have ever committed is unredeemable. If I think so, I have fallen again today. And the way you live that is not only the gratitude, wow, all of the things I've ever done are redeemable. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And it's already done. It's already done. It's already clear in God's eyes. All I need to do is see things through God's eyes, and then I'm redeemed. Beautiful. But then the next step is to prove it, look at others. If I say I'm totally redeemed and you people are, I'm not redeemed, it shows me where I'm slipping. So others are in your life to show you not just how wonderful you are when we tell you you look great and young and all that. The others are mostly in our lives to show us where we haven't redeemed something in ourselves. Yeah, I still got this patience thing. I still got this insecurity, that. How do I know? I don't know. Let me just look around. When people trigger you, that's your work. Okay? Peace to them, peace to you. I'm not saying judge them, but, peace to us all. Please take a few centering breaths. Breathing and relaxing and soaking in what you heard. Intellectually, I'm in a building listening to a guy lecture. But I refuse to accept that. That's not how I choose to see this. This is not me sitting in a chair looking at a couple hundred people in a room. I am the room or the world. If there's anyone in this room I don't like, even if you're watching online, you don't like what I've said or someone who's sitting by you. If there's anything like that, it's you. If you've seen anything you love and appreciate, it's you. So if there's something that triggers you, just, wow, I wonder what that's about. Do I want to carry that as my reality, my truth? Hope not. Then see it and give it to God. And ask to replace it with God's presence. If on the other hand you see goodness or a feeling, I just feel seen. I feel loved. I feel accepted. I feel awakened in this room hearing these things. That's you. It means I must have been ready. The mother is moving and dancing, channeling through me as a speaker. But she's in you, helping you hear her. Even in a talk, she's taking you home, not because of intellectual epiphanies, but because of dropping the past, dropping all other opinions. We're going to slip and judge and be judged some days. Make it our goal to see it as soon as possible and let it go. Because not one single judgment in history ever came from God. So why would I want to hear anything but the voice of love? It doesn't make my perceptions wrong per se, my opinions wrong. They're going to seem powerful. They're going to seem true and clear for now. God's not so much trying to make you wrong as to show you you're right, your real self. To be righteous means to be in right consciousness, and that's my goal. In one respect, I never left right consciousness. So all I'm really doing is accepting my true self and true inheritance. All thoughts and concerns, conflict in the world, disease, a friend who's struggling, depression, any things that are on your mind that you've struggled with or see others struggling with. Let's bring this to the altar. You know, Father, Mother, God, my typical propensity would be to say, God, please help them, fix them, and so on. Not today, not today, not today. Wait. I think I'm hearing that I can instead say, Father, Mother, God, none of this is your will. I'm so grateful that none of this is your will. And I'm so tempted to throw this on the altar and say, fix it. But instead I'm going to say, whatever is the cause of this war, this weather issue, and so on, whatever is the cause in our belief systems, I'm so sorry. For my part, our part. This is not your holy children thinking, feeling. This is the part of us that learned to follow the voice of fear, anger. So, on behalf of myself and all others, because we're one, we're placing this on the altar. Our opinions of right, wrong, skin color, financial status, Republican, Democrat, male, female, all forms of duality, all forms of conflict, all forms of unresolved issues, all illnesses, onto the altar. As unconditionally and completely as possible. Take these from my soul onto your altar, where you can disperse them into the powerless nothings that they are. Any remaining thoughts, judgments, things floating through my mind, I'm going to say right now, be still and know the I am presence of God. Say to those things like, you have no place here. Be firm. Be courageous to say no to voices of ego. No. That doesn't sound like the voice of God. Therefore, I choose it not. And in the face of all those, I stand now, Divine Mother, descend into my being. Fill up my mind, my consciousness. Fill up my altar in my heart. Fill my soul, body, forward, back, left, right, inside, outside, up, down. Fill me completely with your radiant love and light. Let me know your will. And your will is for peace, joy, love, abundance. This is my inheritance. I am a place of holiness. Thank you for descending into my church, that is me, to my altar, so that all the congregants, attendees, meaning every cell of my being, can feel the presence of God in God's holy temple, that I am. And so it is. Thank you. Just gradually stretch out. Please, gradually. We're going to do our closing prayer in a moment. Be it the talk or the meditation, the prayer, can anyone share, what did you learn or hear today that made the most sense or might be the most helpful in your life or in the life of people around you? Anybody? Yes?
Well, Michael, I love that you were sharing about when you used to say to them, I'm healthy, and I just wanted to share a little story.
Healthiness, yes.
I've definitely been judged a lot as a witch by families or ex-partners' families. And my favorite story is my ex-partner's father, who's fundamentalist Baptist, cornered me at a family gathering.
nice.
He said, I don't believe your gifts are from God. I said, well, what do you think I should do if they're not? Because I don't want anything that's not from God. And he said, let's pray to have God take them away if they're not from God. I said, that's a great idea. You should start. And he just looked at me. I said, well, because they are from God, and every time someone's done this, they get stronger. But please begin.
Right. That's interesting. So you're saying to somebody who's judging you as a witch, or you're not, your gifts are not from God.
Yeah.
What do you do with that? And what a great thing to say. Well, and here's the wording I would have used. You're kidding. These gifts might not be from God. Oh my God, you're kidding me. Do you believe in God? Oh, yes, I do, brother. Do you believe God answers prayers? Yes, I do. I want you to pray right now that I have no gifts other than those that come from God. They pray. Great. Thank you. Well, if God answers prayers, apparently all the gifts that now come from me will be from God. So leave me alone. I mean, kind of, right? I'd try to be nicer, but yes.
I love when you shared about, like, when you're praying with fear in there, like really being conscious of what you're
Be conscious that
praying
your prayers are filled with fear
about.
and control trips. Here's the problem. Here's how I want you to fix it. Which is strange coming from insane people. These are people that have lost touch with their power and with God, and yet they think they're smart enough to know the real problem and the real solution. It's really strange. That's Einstein's definition of insanity, really. Yes?
One of the things I found very interesting is I was in this mystery school meditation thing for years, right? And slowly over the years, we were literally doing meditations that was rising Kundalini. But when it was the most intense, that's when I went through the dark night of the soul. I never realized that that's what it was doing. It was literally bringing all that stuff up.
So you were involved in a group doing intense work, and when the dark night of the soul hit, you didn't realize that that's also simultaneously when Kundalini was purging things in a very challenging time. Absolutely.
Good, though.
Yeah.
I mean, in a way.
Yes, of course. That's the way you went.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
I was going to say at the beginning, when you asked prayerful patience, and what was really lovely is that everything that you said, right from the words being prayers, and the whole service today was about really very much about prayer.
Right.
And it's just this, what you exhibit, I think really firmness.
Yeah.
And they're right by
Father and mother, tenderness, firmness. That's right.
And it's like teaching us to grow into that, to become
Right.
that.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate you seeing the value of that. All of us. That sometimes there's the firmness and sometimes the gentleness. What's the right thing at the right time? Clearly, at a car accident, you need direction. In ER, somebody comes rolling in, I don't think, even though I believe in prayer and meditation, I don't think the best thing would be for the ER doctor to say, you know what we really need right now? Everybody really needs to calm down and just meditate, as the person's bleeding out. No, what you need to do is take care of the situation right now. And while you're doing it, you can say, God be with me, but take care of the situation. That doctor's so intense. That's because they had someone bleeding out. Their body's all broken. Get that, do this, boop, look beyond it. The way they're saying, how they're saying, because something needs done right now, and if you can't, you have too much littleness going on. Because if you're a big enough soul, like if I walked into a situation, like that, I might be a little shocked if a police officer is saying, hey, you, do this. I just left the global center and we're all, oh, and I come upon an accident, this guy's yelling at me, and it would seem a little weird, but I have to adjust my mind, be of service, and this is what needs done, you see? And everybody has to get used to that. A last person or two. Yes?
The part that you talked about becoming really
Becoming.
with me, and moment by moment, we all get to choose with what we decide to do and how we do that example, and the power in that. We can read all the books, attend all the workshops and ceremonies, but until we actually integrate that and start becoming a different example,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter.
Right. No matter what you do, what you've read, certificates, claims, it's about becoming. Not the claiming, not the talking. Or channeling even. It's becoming. Become the channel. Become it. Whatever you're channeling, become it. And to me, it's not like in the 90s when it was 80s and 90s. It was just the cooler thing you channeled made you the cooler teacher. It's like, oh man, I went to this guy last night and he channeled the astral plane, fourth dimension. Oh, you're kidding. Oh my God. And then the next week it would be, now there's another guy who channels the fifth dimension. And pretty soon it's like, my channel's better than your channel. They're like, my dad can beat up your dad. It's like so childish, ridiculous. But I love when Edgar Cayce was told by a popular channel in Europe, an entity that was being channeled. The entity came through and told them, contact Edgar Cayce and tell him that he would become a better channel if he would allow me to come through him. Yeah. Edgar Cayce went into trance and asked, someone's knocking at the door, would you like me to open it? And his source said no. They persisted again. Tell him his work will increase and improve if he allows me to come through. And Edgar Cayce's voice that came through was, tell that entity, does he know more than the God that created him? Listen to what just was said. Because Cayce was going all the way, baby. He was like, I'm doing the work of God. He didn't pursue them and criticize them. They were pushing it. But he said no, and nice and firmly. And tactfully, I might add. I thought that was a good way to say, eh. So and please don't confuse the Divine Mother with the claims on earth about the Divine Feminine. Almost nobody that's talking Divine Feminine has a clue. They're talking Divine Feminine like a movement, a spiritual feminist movement, which you can do or not do. I don't care. But don't call it the Divine Feminine. If it's not the Divine Mother, it's not very divine. And certainly don't capitalize it. Okay? I understand. You're wanting to access your spiritual femininity. Good for you. Good job. Go for it. Don't call it divine feminine. Because the more you're identifying with gender, you're still talking about humanness, and that's different than divine. The divine, I don't tell you divine, you don't hear me do that a whole lot. Because like I said, I don't identify with, I'm not just a male, I'm the divine masculine. People will say, Michael, you're such a great depiction of the divine masculine. Thank you when you say it. I'm sure you mean well. But you're still identifying a gender. So I don't really hear it. No problem. It's not like I'm ignoring you. Michael, you're a really wonderful depiction of the divine masculine. In my brain, I just adjust it. I refuse to be just this or that. I accept what I really am. You only see that, and that's fine. Thank you. Good for you. But I know differently. Does that make sense? So don't get too caught up in this whole movement. It's a bit limited or limiting. Our soul is known as Sophia in mythology. And she wandered away from heaven and she found herself all broken and then she's awakening. But she symbolizes our original soul that sparked away from God. She goes from being a broken being to an awakened being and home. All right? She's not the God self, this soul, the Sophia within us. She's not the God self yet. She's a soul that wandered and ended up abused, broken, and journeying and incarnating again and again. That's the real story of Sophia. But she got redeemed. She got redeemed because her brother, which we call the Christ, her brother said to the Father, we've lost my sister, which is us. It's not a girl, it's us. We've lost your children, let me go and bring her home. And the soul known as Jesus came to earth, and you know what he did? He redeemed. No, he eventually redeemed. You know what happened when he came to bring us home? He fell too and had to incarnate and remember who he was, which is beautiful because by falling and evolving back to who he really is and then showing us, he showed us how to do it. If he hadn't fallen, he would have just said, I can't relate to you people, but give it a shot. He said, I've been there, done that. I fell too, and I can tell you how to get out of this. We're going to do our collection right now. Please be as generous as you can be. Whether it's online, and I want the folks here to know, the folks online don't watch for free. Like you, they donate. And I'm very appreciative that they donate approximately the same amount as the people in the room. So I love seeing that everybody's doing their part to pitch in. All right? The love offering blessing, prosperity blessing is posted online, but it's also in front of you in your seat backs if you want to follow it. Together, please. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, and so it is. Thank you. While they're passing the baskets, a couple quick announcements and our prayer. The announcements include, if you're wanting to sign up for the crystal bed, this is great. Something that we've changed is we added another employee, this wonderful gal, Angela. She's in the bookstore Saturday and Sunday so that Dosie's not in there for the weekend and she has, at least an hour off from being at the center. So we have somebody in there working Saturday, Sunday. And also we have some of one of our admins, Valerie, she's able to cut loose from the admin job a little more and work the crystal bed more. So we can now accommodate more crystal bed sessions if people want to book those. Just call the office. Crystal bed, man, that's some very powerful stuff. We're doing my Thanksgiving intensive on awakening Christ consciousness. This is your last chance to tell the group here today, whether it's phone or in person. If you're going to attend in person, I will be here all 3 days in person. If we don't hear that for sure, then as of today, after today, that's it. Then it'll be 1 day here and the rest will be online only. It's up to you to create that. That was a request for a topic. I didn't see it on time, sorry about that. But I think we got to it anyway. Okay, last couple things. if you're online with us, thank you. From all around the world, bless you. And just, do the sharing and the liking and all those things, notifications, and all those things when it feels appropriate. Remember, we have a couple of Facebook groups. Friends of Michael Mirdad is one, and one of them is the Daughters of Heaven. And we really work to keep it a safe, clear, loving space in those groups. Those groups also have at least once a month, if not 4 times a month, groups where we do a Zoom meeting, and you can ask anything and share. And I mean, it's very, very beautiful and powerful stuff. We just try to do as much as we can for free. Sometimes the Facebook groups have what's called like a private group, and to do that, it's mandatory that you have to charge $5 or $10 a month to be in those groups. So we kind of have to do the donation thing to assure it's a private group. Private means you can screen people out a lot better than just open to trolls, okay? So remember to arrive a little early before services so that you can join us in our opening song. When we don't have musicians, we play copyrighted songs, so we have to do that before, because they won't stream it online or they'll block us. And some of you have already come to attend from 12 to 2 every day, weekdays. Our admins put on the screens talks. Some of mine, it could be Gary Renard or whomever is kind of into the Christy vibe. We put those speakers up on the screens, 12 to 2. You sit down, it's free. Come in and they'll just be playing educational videos for you, inspiring videos, okay? Remember Friday, October 27th, we have the experience, the musical magic of Jamie and the Dreamers. It's wonderful. It's a real fusion of different music. There's flyers in the foyer or on our website. You can see it, or you can ask our office for help if you want to know more about it. Remember, in the bookstore, we've got our Daughters of Heaven shirts and water bottles and so forth, so check those out. Last but not least, November 9th through 11th, Thursday and Saturday, we have the 11:11 Codes of Heaven 3-day live experience. So we have a conference coming up, 11:11, that weekend. Several speakers, musicians. It's a nice fusion, diverse experience. So you can, again, see flyers in the foyer or go online and you'll see it. The things I'm describing are also posted on the screens here before service. Did you see the one announcement of a news break for Christ Consciousness? Did you guys see that today? Yeah, I asked you guys to put it again this week. But anyway, there was a great one last week. We try to put each week kind of a playful post. This was a news break, breaking news. There's an outbreak of Christ consciousness all around the world, and it looks like the source of the virus. Get it? It looks like the source of this outbreak of Christ consciousness is this place called the Global Center for Christ Consciousness. So that's, playful. Please stand for our closing prayer. Those of you online, sometimes, you ask, the songs we play in the morning when it's not a live musician, today's song was Wear Your Love Like Heaven by Donovan. Feeling so grateful and so alive. We might feel great, we might feel inspired, but it's also okay that we still struggle, some of us, some days. Today's my day, tomorrow's your day, and so on. Let's just be here for each other as much as possible during those challenges. But also let's be there to celebrate with one another that our lives are improving as we move closer and closer to reflecting the presence of God. The light of God surrounds us.
We are the light of God.
The love of God enfolds us.
We are the love of God.
The power of God protects us.
We are the power of God.
And the presence of God watches over us.
We are the presence of God.
Wherever we go, God is, I am, we are, and so it is. Peace be with you all. Thank you.